My husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4. He has a daughter, Violet, teen, and I have a daughter, Mia, preteen. Violet was playing on her phone. Mia asked if she could play, and Violet said no. Mia said okay, but then got bored after a while and asked me to ask Violet to let her play. I asked Violet if she would let her play for just 5 minutes. She said okay, went to the window, threw the phone out, and then told Mia she could have it now. I went out and found her phone and the screen was broken. I was so shocked. She is a little hot-headed, but this is an extreme reaction even for her. I told her the phone was broken and she wasn't getting another phone, and she just calmly told me that she didn't ask me for another phone anyway. I took away the rest of her electronics and told her she wasn't getting them either because she couldn't be trusted, and sent her to her room. The next day she went out and came back with a new phone. I told her she wasn't allowed to have a phone and took it away. My mother-in-law called me and said I'm an idiot because I can't just take away something she bought with her own money. She does babysitting, pet sitting, and other jobs like that. I told her it was her punishment for breaking her phone, and she said it was her phone, so she could do whatever she wanted with it. She also told me to return the rest of the electronics, or they'll buy her new ones. My husband agrees with me, but her parents think I'm the idiot here. You are the idiot. The fact that Mia asked Violet, then went to you to ask Violet after she said no, tells me everything I need to know about your relationship with both of them, and why Violet may have reacted the way she did. Breaking her phone was an extreme reaction, but clearly, this is not the first time her boundaries regarding her time and property have not been respected. My same thought. Violet could have reacted this way because she was exhausted. OP, are you trying to have a child who becomes an adult who doesn't respect people's boundaries? You are teaching your daughter if one person says no, it's okay to keep pushing on that until it becomes a yes. This was an excellent occasion to explain to your daughter that when someone says no, it's no. She won't always have the chance to ask you to ask someone else to do something she wants. You have 2 children, and one's wants are not more significant than the other. It is hard for a teen to accept a new parent, especially when a said parent believes their child is entitled to things that belong to the other. That phone is not yours. It's not your daughter's. I do not foresee this marriage lasting happily if you expect Violet to give up her belongings at Mia's whim. Violet, for her due, probably regrets throwing her phone, but it was the only recourse a hormone-swapped, uncomfortable teen could manage. Given her stepmother's lack of empathy, I feel sorry for her in this household. I seriously doubt OP thinks of herself as having 2 children. Seeing as OP said, I have a daughter, he has a daughter. She doesn't see Violet as hers. Thank God she has her grandparents on her side. Violet was at most 8 years old when her family fell apart. Has she ever received any counseling? Has anybody ever checked on her mental health? Do you have a reasonably healthy relationship with her, or is she a troublemaker? I'm asking because this isn't a normal reaction for a teen to have when asked to accommodate their younger step-sibling. Violet doesn't seem to respect you. Additionally, her grandparents' reaction suggests that they don't respect you all that much either. If you think taking away her electronics is a solution here, then you are an awful mother to both girls. We finally have gone no contact with my mom. It was a long, hard decision, but she and my wife were just fundamentally unable to get along and recently had a vicious fight, and I knew I had to put my wife first. The fight was so bad my mom didn't even protest the no contact, so we're just done with each other, but I can't say it hasn't been gut-wrenching. My mom has given her version of the story to everyone, so I get that my wife wants to defend herself, but I hate that she's posting on social media because I find that tacky, and my mom just told people verbally. Anyway, my wife made a couple of posts about my mom's behavior over the years, which, hey, they were true, but then she claims my mom wore white to our wedding. She didn't, and she posted a picture to prove it. This picture is not from our wedding. It's from my mom's own wedding, and my wife labeled it the mother-son dance. I was mortified. I didn't even care about the white dress, but the man my mom was with was her husband, not me. Face was cropped out, and I felt humiliated. He was holding her very intimately, hands on her lower back, her head buried in his chest. My mom and I would never touch like that. making me feel sick. Hey, my mom was stiff during the actual mother-son dance. I know some families are more affectionate, but I would just never do that. I asked my wife to take it down and she refused. I took it in my own hands and commented, "Honey, think you're confused. That's stepdad's name. Remember, that was their wedding." She actually wore green to ours and posted the pictures for proof. My wife was furious and deeply hurt. She broke down crying and said I publicly humiliated her and sided with my mom. She said she just wanted a little bit of petty revenge and I should have taken her side. It's been a day and she's still clearly upset. Not the idiot. Your wife is immature for doing that. Why would she post such a thing, not considering your feelings about it, much less your mother's, even if you guys are at odds with her? She deserved to be called out. Next time she'll be mindful of what she posts. The wife sounds like a drama queen, and she publicly humiliated herself by acting like a petty teen engaged in a social media smear campaign. I hope you went no contact with your mom based on the behavior that you've witnessed yourself, because your wife doesn't mind lying and manipulating. If I were you, I would seriously think about if I'm okay sharing the same house with an individual so oblivious of reality and boundaries. Goodness, I hope they never get divorced. Imagine what kind of stuff the wife would make up then. Your wife's idea of petty revenge was attempting to humiliate you. Your reaction seems less like defending your mom than defending yourself. She knew what she was posting. She just didn't want to get called out on it. This is the kinds of woman you're spending your life with? Your wife went about 35 steps too far. She humiliated you in her quest to hurt your mom. Your mom may very well be the very worst mother-in-law, but are you sure your wife isn't the daughter-in-law from Hades? There's very little to go on here, but it seems a shame to go no contact if both parties are to blame for the rift. Maybe you can have a relationship with your mom without involving your wife. My dad met his wife when I was 10. She had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, both younger. Their dad walked out on them, and they had not seen him since where my mom died when I was 8. My dad and his wife set me down when they were getting serious and told me her daughter would need me to look out for her because she's special needs and has Down syndrome. They told me I would be her big sister now, and it was important that I be a good one because she would always have trouble. I told them I didn't want to be a big sister, and they said what I wanted wasn't important because it was happening and she would need me more than he would. So ever since that little talk, it's been on my shoulders to make sure she's okay. Kids being mean, I needed to help. No one to hang out with her, I needed to do it. I don't want to. I get a lecture. I resent it. I do. I don't resent her. I know it's not her fault. But I never wanted to do any of this stuff. I never signed up to be a babysitter. But that's what I am, especially now. If they want to go anywhere, I have to stay with my stepsister. And she's very attached to me. Like she's clingy and needy with me. And I know she loves me a lot. She's more attached to me than she is to her brother or her mom, for that matter. She would choose me over her mom in a lot of things. I'm even told to hold her hand when we're out if she doesn't want to hold her mom's hand. So I hate all of it. I'm now nearly an adult, and the end of my time here is drawing closer, and I plan to move out ASAP and not come back home for any weekends or any day visits. My dad's wife is aware of this too. She's heard me make plans, and she and my dad have started trying to convince me to stick around. Even worse, they've taken 3 of my weekends in the last 2 months and made me babysit her daughter for the entire weekend. They're trying to pressure me to just not dip from their lives because it would crush my stepsister. This past week, I had enough, and I lost it when it was just me, my dad, and his wife at home. They were making plans for next weekend, and I told them I had never signed up for the job of always being a babysitter, and that if they thought I'd feel guilty for leaving it all behind, then they were wrong, because I can't wait to leave, and I won't miss any of them when I'm gone. My dad started yelling at me and asking how I could be so cold, and I was an idiot for acting like being part of the family and part of my little sister's life was a chore. Tension has been present ever since, and I see that my stepsister is really bothered by it. She started crying when she got home that day, and she's cried a lot more than is normal for her, and I am being blamed. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Children are not autonomous responsibility modules. It doesn't matter if she loves you. It doesn't matter if they expect it. You deserve a life. You have a great deal to look forward to in your future, and being their auxiliary babysitter isn't it. Frankly, there's help for those who need a caretaker for disabled individuals, and failing that, it is the parent's responsibility. Not yours, not a child's, not anyone else's, theirs. Did they want some rose-colored love story free from tedious responsibility? Screw that. Go live you. Go no contact, and forget them as soon as you can get out. If they say she'll be neglected if you leave, call child services or health services. It is abuse to shirk their task on children. Wow, I told them I didn't want to be a big sister, and they said what I wanted wasn't important. All the red flags are in one sentence. They want their family to be like this, but you are being placed in charge of caring for her daughter with special needs. Invalidating what you want and putting this insane pressure on a minor is not only insane, it's also bloody illegal. If something happened to your sister while you were taking care of her, your parents would both be charged with neglect, and you and your siblings would probably be removed from your parents. Not only is this extremely insensitive and flat out wrong towards you, but it's also straight out negligent. You deserve to be a child and an adolescent, not a surrogate parent. If they put any more pressure on you, call CPS. My husband, 34, and I, 29 male, eloped in late June. Neither of us had ever dreamed of a big wedding. Instead, we fell in love with the opposite concept, which was doing it privately and getting to keep that special memory something just between us two. We had plans to throw a party around our 1-year anniversary so our families could celebrate with us then. So far, we hadn't told my side of the family that we had tied the knot. We live a few hours away from them and want to be able to tell them in person rather than over the phone, but we haven't gotten a chance so far. My sister, 27, married in a traditional wedding style yesterday. We drove down Friday afternoon and said our hellos, but kept to ourselves for the most part and let her and her bridal party do their thing. She was focused on a million other things, and rings on mine and my husband's fingers were the last thing on her mind, as they were for us. Being married for almost 2 months means wearing those rings has just become second nature. I don't take it off, and I hardly remember I'm wearing it unless someone points it out to me. The following day, we were invited to have breakfast with my sister, my mother, and her bridal party. To make a long story short, my mom noticed mine and my husband's wedding bands and asked if they were what she thought they were. We attempted to change the course of the conversation without outright lying, but my mother kept pushing until we finally admitted that, yes, we had gotten married back in June. My sister got very angry and asked my husband and me to leave the breakfast. We apologized profusely, but she held her ground. The rest of the day went off nicely, but we did ask members of the bridal party if she was still angry, and they said yes, and that she thought we had worn the ring specifically to steal the light of her big day. My husband and I are very embarrassed, but we don't fully believe the onus falls on us here. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Sorry, I don't believe for a second you didn't have one thought between the two of you that wearing wedding bands wouldn't attract questions. Look, it's okay to elope. It's okay to have a small wedding. It's not okay to announce that you eloped hours before a sibling's wedding. That's just awkward for everyone and attention grabbing. You could have left your wedding bands at home or told people in advance. It's one thing to elope, but it's another not to even bother mentioning it to family. Why keep being married a secret? Definitely, you are the idiot. I rolled my eyes so hard they almost fell out. You were seeing your family for the first time in a bit and forgot you were wearing wedding rings? Please don't insult anybody's intelligence. You've been married all of 2 months, not 2 years. You were fully aware of what you were doing. Exactly. They had 2 months to tell people they had married. They didn't. Also, of course, OP's mom pushed it after she noticed her son and his partner wearing wedding bands. Even if they're not close, it's her son. She likely felt lied to because, again, they didn't tell anyone they eloped. OP, you didn't want to pay for a wedding, so you turned your sister's spotlight onto yourselves. My 25 male. Dad remarried 4 years ago. He has custody of my sister, Lisa, full sibling teen, Friday to Sunday, and he also has 2 stepchildren, Amy teen female and Brianna tween female. I visit my dad on the weekends to see my sister. My dad and I don't have the best relationship, but I love my sister with all my heart, so I'm doing my best to be around still. My sister is heavily obsessed with Korean and Japanese culture, full K-pop, anime, and things like that. There's nothing wrong with it, and I'm not bashing her. My sister and I like it too. The problem is that this obsession has caused her to only eat Asian food. And since she's mommy's girl and dad has prioritized his new family over my sister, that's the only thing they eat. They're not Asian. My sister has told me that she's done. She misses having hamburgers, pizzas, pasta, etc. But she can't eat them at dad's. And with mom, she does it very rarely because my mom cooks, and she doesn't do this thing every week. Mom's Mexican, so she cooks Mexican stuff. My dad orders takeout almost every weekend. And yeah, they mostly order sushi and stuff like that. This weekend was my turn to pay. My stepsister and stepmom were talking about some Korean restaurant and things like that. But I looked at my sister and asked her what she wanted to eat. She said she had been craving a hamburger for weeks. And I said, done, I'll order it then. My stepsister said, no, I don't like to eat that. I just shrugged and said I could order her something else. Still, my dad said we all should eat the same thing since we're family. So I just said, okay, burgers then. We went back and forth, and I ended up ordering burgers for me, my sister, and Brianna, tween, while my dad, my stepmom, and Amy had sushi. My dad called me an idiot for making Amy feel left out, and I asked what he thought about his own kid, and he kicked me out. Not the idiot. It's one thing to want to eat the foods you like. It's another to dictate what foods other people eat. You're right, and your father's wrong. You also pointed out this hypocrisy towards his daughter, which is why he kicked you out. He owes you and your sister a massive apology. Daddy needs to open his eyes and stop putting his non-biological children over his bio kids. If you have the space, you might want to look into moving your sister in with you. Brianna also had a burger, shows that they're pandering far too much to Amy's preference and obsession. Your dad is making a grave mistake in brushing off his own kids to pander to his new family exclusively. Also, I think the idiot rule is we all have to eat the same thing. If they're secure enough monetarily that they can order from multiple places, then why make people miserable trying to make them eat the same? My family does takeout, but we have ordered from multiple places.